Some people will find it very hard to understand, even to believe, but the maker of the world, he lives within you. And for us really to grasp that and to understand what it means, for that the person should really throw himself into fire and into water so many times with no end. His will should be committed, devoted to Hashem, to the Maker, in such a way that no matter what will happen to him in this lifetime, he will never reject his faith, he will never reject Hashem. And then, in that place, when you reach that high level, there is nothing in the world that will ever separate you from the Maker, and you will understand what it means that Hashem memale kol almin umesobev kol almin. That Hashem is filling all the worlds and surrounding all the worlds, covering. Even through science, that to look at the world through the eyeglasses of science, it's like to poke a hole with a needle in an endless fabric, to see a tiny beam of light coming through that hole. But that hole is definitely showing and proving the existence of light behind the curtain. So we cannot reject that illumination totally, but definitely we cannot put our trust and our faith in it. So even through science, you can see that this world is built from one thing, and it's energy. It's all alive, it's all moving, it's all channeling, it's all vibrating, it's all expanding. There is no end to it. Infinity is all over the place. You can see it even through science, even through this tiny crack in the matrix that allows us to be inspired. Oh man, there's light there through science. You can see the truth. Now, if we would go deep with a simple mindset, you don't need to be a genius for that. You don't need to be a righteous scholar to understand those high things, huge spiritual concepts. Not at all. You just need to be simply honest. When you are, you're flying already so fast, so high. Like in the peak of levels of achievements human beings can achieve, the highest level is of the truth seekers. It's not of the Jews or of the Hasidic or of the Breslever Hasidic. It's Kabbalistics, it's Chabad. None of the above. Only humble people. What does it mean, humble? Oh, a level. Oh, I'm not humble. You don't know how humble you are. If you're here, you're humble, first of all. If you wouldn't be humble, you wouldn't be able to stand my voice. My voice would electrify your brain, and you would run to be contaminated by some other contaminated teacher to wash your brain with toxic lie. Your humility and your will to humble yourself under the wings of Hashem and to accept on yourself yoke of heaven and Hashem's faith is allowing you to be part of those wonderful classes and to join us. Honestly, if you wouldn't be humble, you wouldn't be here. And there are a million evidence for that. Like, I don't need even to start explaining. Maybe you have a low self-esteem and you find it hard to title yourself as humble. That's also part of your humility. that is also an evidence for the fact that you're humble. A humble person is not the one that is going and waving, oh, I'm humble, oh, I'm humble. No, a humble person is just like being humble about it, that he's humble. So, I gave classes in Humboldt County in Texas, guys. It's like, so, if you wouldn't be humble, you wouldn't be able to hear that message. And that message is that humble people, no matter who they are, from which society, community, section, religion, humble people means people that understands that they do not have control on life, and that the maker of the universe is running the circles of their life, and they just try to adjust to reality, to whatever Hashem wants. Humble people that are seeking for the truth means that they are open to growth. They're willing to learn. And for them, every life situation is an opportunity. Now, again, it does not mean that they do not fail, that they do not forget, that they do not sin. We're talking about people. The verse is saying that there's no righteous person who will do only good and won't fail. There is no one that did not fail. Moshe Rabbeinu failed. The Torah is rebuking Moshe, is showing the lackings of Moshe, that Moshe failed 5 times in his lifetime. King David, the Torah is rebuking him, showing, exposing his mistakes. Even if we might not understand what was the sin, because sometimes the Torah is opening something in a way that we won't be able to understand it. For that we need to count on the sage's wisdom, or the commentaries, the righteous people who opened our eyes to understand, ones that lived in earlier generations, that had permission to explain the verses and to open them and explain the intention of Hashem about halakha, the Jewish law, things that we might not be able to do today because our minds are way more distracted. Like, we're not so clean and clear and available to hear the sound of the Torah. You do have the ability to connect from your place, but for you to have an ability to write down a book like Shulchan Aruch, we're not there. For you to come up with assumptions and understandings about the Mishnah, like the righteous sages in the generation of the Gemara, with all due respect to your wisdom, we're not there. Not me, not you. Or else it would have been given to us the permission to do so, but it's been denied by Hashem. Hashem restricted each generation to his mission. And in our days, we have a different mission. Our mission is to save people's life. That's our mission. We don't have no other mission. You don't have a mission to be a scholar. You don't have a mission to make money. You don't have mission to have relationship with a woman, with a man. Like, you're not obligated to build a house, and like none of those things are an obligation. You do have an obligation to connect yourself to the will of Hashem, but you see that Hashem is pulling out people, dividing people, separating people. Not everyone are able in our days to build a house. Not everyone. Many of us are struggling with Shalom Bayit issues. Many of us, it's like, finished their correction with relationships and need to do things on their own. It's like plenty of people that they just can't be inside relationships. I have a student, every once in a while I'm asking her, do you want me to help you to find a match, a shidduch, a nice person, a wise person, a sensitive person, a loving person? She's always answering the same thing. She's saying, like, I don't feel like I'm ready for that. Like, honestly, simply, No, she's not there. She's not in that place of being part of a deep relationship, of an honest nothing wrong, nothing is bad, not because of anything wrong, just her mind is aimed to certain operations in her life, and it takes all her energy. That's what she needs to focus on. A person with a child, they look at the child and like, I need to take care of him now. Okay, now, can I also take care of myself now? Sometimes no. The answer is no. Sometimes yes. Okay, wonderful. Sometimes your friend will assist you to take care of your child. Wonderful. But every person is an individual and must be honest and truthful about his life mission and purpose. A person can come to a point in life and understand, I need to throw everything and just meditate. I need to throw everything and just learn Torah. I need to drop everything and just focus on saving people's life. I just need to have a daily routine. I just need to make money to pay all my debts. Like, a person can come to a point in life that he will understand that all the rest is less important than that urgent thing. It might be also, okay, I need to focus on my shalom bayit and to make peace with my wife and to make sure that she will understand that I do care for her and that I messed up and I apologize and I understand my mistake. It's also legit. It's also like, okay, that's your mission. You can, in that place, you don't have time for your parents. You don't have time for your friends no more. You don't have time to learn Torah. It's understandable. That's what Hashem wants from you. In our generation, if you find yourself with a tiny teaspoon, no shovel, no huge buckets to dig out from the ground, just your tiny tweezers, those are your tools that you need to deal with life with. That's what you do. That's your mission. Can you argue with what Hashem wants you to do? When the people of Israel built the Mishkan, some of them were appointed on carrying the signs, the pillars, the wood, the beams. Some of them were carrying the fabric, the huge screens of the Mishkan. Some of them were carrying the ark. Some of them were carrying carpets, rings, hooks, million things that were like, people had to carry the pots and pans to make food, like later on, meat for like shepherds to bring the animals. It's like million positions, million roles. There was one person that his job was to tie, to connect, to sew the fabrics one to the other when putting the Mishkan up on the pillars with all the rings and like. So his job was to make sure that he has a strong, powerful needle and a string. It might be that in your life now that you need to hold your needle and to poke. That's your mission. So now, is it less important than being Moshe Rabbeinu standing on the mountain? No. Would you replace your job building the Mishkan back then, having your part with the needle and wanting to be someone else? No. Trust me, to be there back then in those days and to hold that holy needle and to know that you're appointed on something that is so gigantic, it's a privilege that anyone in the world that has some common sense will just be envy, just will want to see you in your work will be enough for him. Now, to touch that needle, who dares? Who dares to touch the Mishkan? What do you mean? Like, who can do that? But to look, oh, I wish I would have the merit to stand and watch them building the Mishkan. To have a part in doing something, enormous merit. Who can even understand? Who can even imagine the holiness of having a finger touching the Mishkan, entering in the gates of the Mishkan, crossing the door of the Mishkan, walking on the carpet, sewing, making the carpet, like putting it down, like being one of those ones who put the benches, like just to stand from the side and watch is already a totally overwhelming privilege that cannot be written in million books. Now, the sacrifices were replaced in prayers for us today, for our later generations after the destruction. It means that all the work of the Mishkan was replaced in our work, not only the sacrifices. The sacrifices is one of the works of the Mishkan, but also standing up the pillars, and they're always falling, and you need to stand them up back again. And that's your mission. That's your mission. You need to roll the carpets. Always to roll the carpet. Yes, always to roll the carpets. You know why? I'll explain to you why. It's not an empty thing. It's the thing itself. The reality is that back then, 3,000 years ago, the generation was built from gigantic people, means not physically, spiritually. Their souls were wide. They were enormous. Like each soul of the 600,000 that received the Torah from Mount Sinai had such brain capacity. We're not even close to that. We're not even close to that. We are like 1 in a million of that person. Now, we're not as 1 of a million of that person. We are 1 of a million of that person. That's who we really are. If now you're rolling carpets all your life, that's what you do. You wash dishes all your life, that's what you do. You're cleaning the mess all your life. It means that back then, in the generation of the holy, righteous people who came out of Egypt and were chosen to be the ones to receive the Torah and to enter to the Heichal of Hashem, to the amazing, amazing tent of Hashem, you were inside of one of those souls. Now, historically, how did it happen that it came to that today you're going to be that person? That one, 3,000 years ago, got married. They brought 10 children to the world. Each of those 10 got married and brought 10 children to the world. And each of those 100 got married and brought, I'm just throwing numbers, 10 children to the world. So now you have 1,000, and then 10,000, and then 100,000, and then 1 million people, and then 6 million, and all those millions of people are carrying a portion, a limited, smaller than the soul of their ancestors within them. The soul of their ancestors divided to 10, and then divided to 10, and then divided to 10, and 10, and 10, and 10. And now you have 1 of a million of those gigantic souls that in the past were rolling the carpet of the temple of Hashem, that were washing the vessels from the altar of Hashem, that were washing the knives and washing the forks and washing the spoons and the cups after the people of Israel would come to celebrate the holy high holidays in Jerusalem, in Yerushalayim, in Mount Zion. Now, because their soul were so gigantic, they were able to do 1 million things in their lifetime. They would walk and come and do, but when you divide their lifetimes to 1 million, you have 1 moment for each of us throughout the generations. So one of us is washing dishes, and one of us is rolling the carpet, and one of us is cleaning dust, and one of us is so wrapped after eating fruits and enjoying meat. Because you are a portion, a moment in a lifetime of one of the sages, of one of our forefathers. You were a moment in the life of Abraham, of Yitzchak, of Yaakov, of Sarah, of Rivka, of Rachel, of Leah. It doesn't make you small. If you would understand that you historically participated in a moment of Avraham Avinu doing something, going through some period of time in his lifetime, except for being so grateful for that privilege, for that merit, to be part of that giant, of that lighthouse, nothing else would fill your soul. It's only about great gratitude. It's only about understanding the amazing share. And the deepest part of it is that the verse is saying, Ki chelek Adonai amo, that the share of Hashem is his people, is his nation. And betoch ami anochi yoshavet, inside my people I live. And Hashem said, Asu li mishkan v'shachanti betocham. Build the mishkan for me and I will live among you, within you. All those verses are explaining to us the fact that we have a godly soul within us. It's not, oh yeah, I have a godly soul. No. The Creator lives within you. It's inside of you. There is a portion of godliness. Godliness is not a portion. Godliness is a channel. Godliness is a river. Godliness is an open access to ancient archives of earlier days of Kedem, of before time, of before creation. And that's where you hold. Now you need to connect to that while being the one you are. You cannot connect to it by being me. You will never be me. There's no way in the world that I can be you, nor that you can be me. It's only about me being me and you being you. Now, if you're washing dishes, that's where you need to connect yourself to Hashem. You're not washing dishes. You are now presenting out to the world the ability that is treasured within you to connect to Hashem while washing dishes, as you were connected to Hashem when you were washing. Sarai Menu, she was washing dishes. Avraham Avinu, he was washing dishes. Don't think to yourself that Yaakov Avinu never washed dishes, or that Rivka or Rachel or Leah or Yitzchak never washed dishes. Everyone are washing dishes. Everyone are cleaning the floor, everyone are slaughtering animals, everyone are cooking, everyone are fixing the bed, everyone are making sure that all the things that must be done will be taken care of. Everyone are waking up in the morning. Avraham Avinu, you think that every morning he was standing up like a pillar of fire? I'm promising you, he had hard mornings. Also, Avraham Avinu, some mornings were more complex. There were nights that it was hard for him to fall asleep. He was also worried. He was also suffering from anxieties. Even the Torah is revealing that. Even the Torah is telling us about great fear that fell on Avraham. Do you think that if you today would experience that fear of Avraham, you wouldn't call it anxiety? You wouldn't call it fear of hell? You wouldn't fall on your face and shake? So let me tell you, that's what you feel. You feel a moment of the great fear of Avraham that is now divided between 20 million people, 100 million people that are all carrying a spark of Avraham. That tremendous fear that fell on Avraham when he saw the horrible exile, when he saw what's going to happen to his children, after he asked Hashem, Bameh daki rashena, what is the evidence for me to know that I'm going to inherit the Holy Land? And Hashem answered to him, the children of yours will go to Egypt and I will go with them and I'm going to bring them back. And when Hashem said those things to Avraham, fear fell on Avraham. Darkness fell on Avraham. Those are words from the Torah. Those are verses that are describing the horrible terror that fell on Avraham when he heard that a Holocaust will come to his children. That all his children will go under the control of the evil kingship of Egypt, of the Egyptians. Now the Egyptians are the terrorists that are surrounding us, the controlling, abusing, hating villains that are attacking us in each generation. When Avraham saw that, he fell on his face, he fainted. Now, can you carry Avraham's fear? Can you deal with Avraham's terror? No. But 1 minute a day, perhaps you can, with 1% out of 1,000,000 of what Avraham experienced. He experienced it all because he was a mountain. He was a world. He was something that can contain hundreds of millions of people and still gonna wash them from outside. So tremendously great. So now you're unable to carry that weight, but still Hashem wants you to be part of Avraham. So he put that into you. So 1 minute a day you're washing dishes, 1 minute a day you're cleaning carpets, 1 minute a day you're talking to your spouse, 1 hour a day you feel tired and you feel anxious and you feel stressed out and you feel depressed. You think that Yaakov Avinu did not feel depressed? You think that Yaakov Avinu did not feel sorrow when he was chased by his brother, when he was chased by his father-in-law, when he had to carry all his family and to cross the river and enemies from the right and from the left? Like, realistically, they experienced fear. You open the book of Tehillim, you read King David's prayers, you see like, man, that person, he suffered so badly, like he was crying so much. Leah Imenu, her eyes became weak, became soft, the Torah is saying, because of how many tears she shed. Why? For what? For knowing that she's about to get married with a villain. Oh, you got married with a villain, now you have complaints. Also Leah was about to get married with a villain. Also, Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, was kidnapped and was raped and was hurt and was abused. And also many other women from the holy tribes of Israel were abused by the Egyptians in Egypt, were raped by the Egyptians in Egypt. And you might carry a part of that soul. And that devil Egyptian is still chasing the pure soul of that pure daughter of Hashem until today, daughter of Yaakov, until today. That cursed and damned one is keep on chasing you. Okay, it's time for us, the children of Yaakov, to take the sword and to go and fight and to revenge and to stand and to protect, and for you not to make the mistake that Dinah made before she was kidnapped, and for each and every one of us not to fall in the traps that are available, and for us to know how to be careful from those holes, from those pits, and for us to fix and correct all the things that we learned, thank Hashem, from our life experience and the experience of our ancestors, that is all written for us and offered and served on a silver plate in the biblical stories and stories of all righteous ones, for us to understand, to learn the lesson and to fix and correct and to be amazing people. So don't take life personally as if someone is playing with your life. Oh, but I wanted to marry someone else. You are a letter in the Torah. What do you want? You're a letter. You can be a wonderful letter pay. Okay, you're a letter pay. Letter pay can be in the word pele, that is wonder. It can also find itself in the word paro, Pharaoh. Oh, now what? You want to be only in Wonderland? You're not Wendy. Are you Wendy? You cannot always live in wonder. And you know what? Even Wendy was kept by Captain Hook for a few hours in her lifetime. What can you do? A person needs to go through what he needs to go through. Not all parts of life are of miracle. Some parts are of challenges. We wouldn't have the Torah, we wouldn't have the Bible without the challenges. Because of the sin of the golden calf, a horrible sin, a huge mistake, something that we were not supposed to do. We have a whole portion that is describing that sin and its punishment and the moral and the understanding. A whole huge portion that we can learn so many halachot from, that we can expand our mind so many things, like the world is inspired by that Torah. Where that Torah found its way out to the world from the sin of the golden calf. If we wouldn't sin, there wouldn't be that portion. That section in the Torah wouldn't be written. If we wouldn't sin, not keeping mitzvah, sinning, only sinning, it was a mistake. That mistake brought out Torah. All the Torah was given for us because of our potential to fall. That's what Moshe answered to the angels. They didn't want the people of Israel to receive the Torah. And what did they say? They will sin. Why to give the Torah for sinners? Why to give the Torah for people who will lie, whatever? Moshe answered them. Hashem told Moshe, you should answer. Moshe found power and answered. That is the whole purpose of the Torah. The Torah should not be given to you, angels, because you don't have parents to respect, and you don't have an evil inclination to murder and to kill, for the Torah to come and command you not to. All the purpose of Torah is for us to come back to Hashem. Tshuva is one of the things, atonement is one of the things that Hashem had in mind before creation. The purpose of creation is for us to come back to Hashem. Now a person will blame himself for his sins. You know why it's happening to you? Because you don't look at the whole picture. You don't understand that Hashem planned this world. Hashem created this world. And Hashem is creating the world as we speak. With its ups and with its downs. That's what Hashem is doing. Hashem is connecting all the dots. Hashem will explain to you why you had to go through the valley of shadows of death. For you to know that there is no bad in the world at all. For you not to be scared even when a sharp sword is aimed and rushing its way towards your neck. For you not to give up on the mercy of Hashem and scream. How will a person learn the lesson of knowing that Hashem can save him in no time against all logic with miracles beyond reality and nature if he wouldn't find himself falling off a cliff with no way out, drowning in an ocean with no lifeline? There's no way to learn that lesson, but that lesson must be taught. So it is. So thank you, Hashem, for no matter what we go through, no matter what, you had to find yourself running in the horrible deserts of Afghanistan with an automatic rifle, protecting friends, seeing dead people, people losing hands, arms, legs, horrible sights. I know. Horrible sights. No person in the world should see that. I mean, we wish no person in the world will have to see that. Today, one of my children, my eldest son, he saved the life of a person. He saved the life of a person. He was crossing the road and there was an elder person crossing the road from a highway from the other side, and a car hit that person. Hit him and, I'm sorry to say, cut his leg off. And my son that was in the army, that he learned how to take care of horrible wounds and critical health conditions and like urgent care, he ran towards him, took off his jacket, tied his leg, stopped the bleeding, called the ambulance, like everything. 6:30 a.m. Like birds were not awake yet. And he already saved the life of a person. An ambulance came and took him, and like, my son is sitting in a puddle of blood with his dead sweatshirt. And that's it. But he saved the life of a person. Today. As we speak, today, this morning, a few hours ago. Now, do you think that he came out from that experience joyful? Oh yeah, I saved a person's life. No, he's in trauma, he's in shock, he's afraid, he doesn't want to see those sights, he cannot smell that smell of blood. He doesn't see the goodness in it. It's our job to help him to see that good in that amazing act he did. But for him, the experience was horrific, was horrible. He was even managed to come to his work on time. He wasn't late even to work. Like everything before morning. It's like, and what you do with that? For you now, you need to take care of your soul for seeing those sights, for dealing with the blood, from seeing a broken bone, for like, horrible. It's not a fun experience, but you were chosen by Hashem to save a Jew, to save the life of a person. Can you argue with that? You can't. So what can you do? Look for the good. I'll tell you something. I told it to a few of my students, and with that, I'm going to finish for tonight. But I must tell you that we have many followers on many outlets. We have people watching my videos on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on WhatsApp. We have many people on WhatsApp that we cannot track how many people are watching videos that are being shared on WhatsApp and TikTok and many outlets through the Google, through our website. Many people can watch our classes. I received an email 2 weeks ago that shown that in one of our channels, one out of our channels, we had 145,000 views. 145,000 views on that channel. And I looked and I checked and I saw that we gained, because of the views, $140. For 145,000 views, $140. I looked at it, I said like, okay, like nice amount of minutes, of course, like small amount of money, but like, okay, thank you Hashem for everything you do. We don't do that for money. Thank you Hashem for allowing us to meet those people. And I went with a feeling like a bit mixed feelings about that experience, like 145,000. I said to myself, you have so many people who are creators of content that makes thousands on thousands of dollars a month or even a day, millions of dollars. And so why? Because they get way more views on their videos, like millions of views on each video, maybe even 10 millions or tens of millions or maybe even hundreds of millions of views on each video. And then I said to myself, you give your heart, you give your soul, you give your energy, and you don't get so many people, 145,000 people on that outlet in a month is not so many. And then I stopped and I said, what? What are you saying? In 1 month, you gave Torah to 145,000 people in that outlet. Now, let's say that you would not give all the classes you gave, okay? Let's take all those people to one day and bring them all together and put them to stand in front of you, and you will speak in front of 145,000 people crowd. Now you understand? Once a month, let's say that I would have that privilege to stand once a month, all the rest of the month, nothing. I don't do nothing. I'm just eating cereals. But once a month, I'm able to stand in front of a public of 145,000 people and giving them Torah of mine, what that I'm teaching. Talking about Hashem, talking about Itbodedu, talking about not giving up, talking about believe in yourself, don't deny your goodness, follow your heart, like for a long time, like to speak with 145,000 people. It's a huge crowd, right? If I would have that 1 minute a month in front of 145,000 people, I would be the happiest person on earth. There wouldn't be a space traveler that could be happier than I. No one in the world would be happier than I if I would have the ability to stand in front of 145,000 people for 1 minute each month. I would be the happiest. I would know that I achieved something enormous. Now, let's go back to reality. I am. That's exactly what I do. That's what I got in that email. That in the last month, I was speaking to 145,000 people for over a minute with each. But the Yetzer Hara is hiding it from us. That's exactly what I heard. That I spoke with 145,000 people. But I'm not able to see that. I'm not able to sense that. I'm not able to. And that is not our strongest channel. That is not our strongest social media outlet. It's actually one of the weakest ones we have. So the real truth is that I am able to speak each month with almost or around 1 million people. That's the right number. Close to 1 million people each month. I talk to them for a minute or so with each. Can I understand that? The answer is no. But is it reality? The answer is yes. It's the truth. That is what that is going on. But I cannot see that. So now I tell you that when you say Sha'akol Niya Bidvaro, Something is happening and you cannot see that. When you give a charity and charity saves from death, you cannot see that, but it's happening. You're saving people from death. If the verse said so, that's what that happens. When you are in Eretz Israel, when you keep Torah, when you put tefillin, when you keep Shabbat, when you cover your head, when you are nice to people, when you smile to people, it's greater than giving charity. Like that the verse is saying, Malbin shinayim mechalav. When you smile and show your teeth, it's greater than to pour milk to a poor person. It's higher than charity to make another person smile. If you do those things, if you're like in any way doing good in the world, the reward, the openings that you're creating, the connection that you're building, the amazing, tremendous effect that you have in the world is undoubtable, but you cannot see it. We cannot see it, not only you. I cannot see it as well. But it keeps us humble. It keeps us humble. I'm not sure that if I would speak to 145,000 people or 1 million people each month, I would be as humble. I'm not so sure. But now when Hashem is breaking it to those tiny classes, to those tiny videos, to those short clips, to those reels, and they're flying on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on all the rest, on WhatsApp and all the rest, Twitter, now it can work. Now it works amazingly. I'm humble and the light is shining. You're humble and the light is shining as well. Got it? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Many blessings. Chazak u'baruch.